In this episode of The Family Affair, India eases some COVID-19 restrictions. But Karan insists his family should go on sticking to his house rule to stay safe.
This is not just for you. It affects all of us.
Yet the stress of getting everyone to toe the line makes Karan break one of his own rules.
I'm busy right now, trying to get this done. I am already helping you. You're not doing anything at all.
In Singapore, circuit breaker restrictions pushes Lesley to breaking point.
Carol, I'm very angry about the shovel. I said stop it. I said stop it many times. I'm gonna throw it away, huh? My mind is just going like...
As families adjust to new routines,
I'm going to come to your room and sleep with you.
I touch me. Oh, there. Look at that. The toothpaste inside the bottle, boy.
Asia is waking up to a new normal.
I hear there is a cluster of COVID cases in my neighborhood.
We are having things yet.
For the last 2 months, we've asked families in 4 cities badly hit by the COVID-19 pandemic: Wuhan, Manila, Delhi, and Singapore, to film their lives 24/7.
Hey, what are you doing making so much noise when you poo-poo?
Being an employee, being a mother, being a teacher, I think it's ridiculous.
When you see your partner work for more than 15 hours a day, you're just like, what the hell am I doing?
Everything now, so no hugs, no kisses.
家里面真正的财务状况，我一直没有告诉家人。
These are their stories. Filmed by them, told by them. The Family Affair. Like you've never seen it before. Because we're all together in a pandemic. It's been 1 week since Wuhan has lifted its lockdown. People can now eat out, commute to offices, and go out to public spaces. But in reality, the 11 million people living here, including Wang Bin, are still very cautious.
喷一下消毒，这个是随身携带，因为比较容易传播的就是这些手，还有脚底，然后手是坚决不能摸那个口罩，不能摸脸。谁打电话？王斌的快递是王斌啊。谢谢。 感染过后有一段时间绝望，因为医生告诉你没有其他的方法的时候，我觉得那一刻我就突然就觉醒了，就觉得要靠自己。
Wang Bin recovered from COVID-19 10 weeks ago. Group exercises were part of the recovery process when Wang Bin was warded. It is believed that exercise can ward off inflammation of the lungs in COVID-19 patients. Wang Bin may have recovered, but the habit stuck.
这次疫情让我有意识到自己要更去重视健身。之前我有，但是坚持的不够好，自律性也不高，所以我从出院过后到隔离点就开始一直没有间断，每一天坚持，每天再忙也会抽1个小时做锻炼。
Wuhan, the city where the COVID-19 pandemic began, had more than 50,000 cases. 67-year-old Madam Huang, Wang Bin's mother, was not spared.
请吸入血氧，请稍后。
44.4，很高。
She is now cleared of the virus, but COVID-19 has left its mark. It has damaged her lungs and worsened her existing chronic conditions. so Wang Bin has to monitor her blood pressure and blood sugar levels closely, in case they take a sudden turn for the worse.
高压114，低压73，脉搏106，血压很正常，就是还是脉搏太快了。你没有早上你没有想下去骑走吗？
我去。
有啥子关系啊？哪个在说你吗？
哎呀，过一段时间嘛，再。
现在我母亲她也有一些心理负担，让她下楼，她都会拒绝。你不要这样子想，你管不到人家会怎么想。你下去锻炼身体是对你自己身体好，你管他那么多干啥？走嘛，我们一起下去。
Given her age and chronic conditions, Madame Huang was very lucky to have survived. But since her discharge, she has not stepped out of the house. COVID-19 did not just affect her health, it has also taken a toll on her mentally. It would be some time before she bounces back. Over at the Guptas, 64-year-old Dolly, mother to Karan and Arjun, is, by contrast, a bundle of energy.
I have the passion, not the patience. So you start, make something, and you land up with something totally new, which you get to name.
Can't say no to Dolly Mom because she'll like wake up in the morning and make you this incredible breakfast because you like mentioned one thing that you like. She's amazing.
I have never, ever known anyone who has so much to give.
My mom is somebody I love the most in this world. I've always loved her the most. Somehow she is able to guess what is going on with me. I think that's just a magical capability that she has. I know she has it not only for her kids. It's for every human being, animal and plant.
In the last 5 weeks, it was Dolly who kept the family happy while they were confined within the Gupta compound. On the 4th of May, Delhi receives good news. The government announced phase 3 of the lockdown. Economic activity is allowed to resume. Businesses and retail shops are allowed to open at 1/3 capacity. And travel restrictions within city limits have been lifted. But at the Gupta household, the rules stay. Because of a neighborhood cluster, Karan, the second son, insists on keeping the family in isolation. With his eldest brother no longer living in the family home, Karan feels it's up to him to help his father keep everyone safe.
You and I keep telling him about this is risk, this is risk, this is risk. We're like, you guys are idiots.
Karan's house rules dictate groceries must be delivered only once a week. Anyone who wants to leave the house must seek clearance from Karan. And part-time help aren't allowed into the sprawling Gupta complex.
I didn't think other people in the family were taking things as seriously. Maybe they just don't understand the repercussions of what could happen. So yes, I'm a worrier, and it worried me because it's not just one of us who gets affected, it's all of us.
But Karan's well-meaning rules are starting to wear Dolly down.
We have a terrace, lots of trees in our house. We have lots of birds. My day starts with taking food for crows and pigeons. Then I do my yoga, and because Marley's not coming, so have to see to the plants also, which we have too many of them. Initially, everything was a novelty. You're positive, let's make the most of it. And now we've done everything possible. There's nothing else left to do. At the end of the day, I find no pleasure in all of this.
Before the pandemic, one of the things that Dolly found most meaningful to do was counseling. She used to volunteer her time at a mental health NGO.
It helps me to learn so much, to grow as a person, and I feel very good when someone else is able to connect with me and feel secure enough to share.
Since the counseling center shut during the lockdown, operations have moved online. Dolly would not be assigned a client until she can operate the software, but she's clearly struggling.
Okay, so this is blank screening sheet.
ये कहाँ से आई?
इधर ही थी mom.
Show कहाँ है? Oh, blank screening sheet. ये वो I didn't see that yesterday.
Dolly has another passion: dogs, particularly stray dogs.
Lucy baby, are you okay? When I come, the first thing I'm going to do is get you a nice juicy bone.
Over the years, Dolly has been feeding and caring for over 30 stray dogs at a public park. The ridge is 2 kilometers from the house. The part-time driver used to fetch Dolly to the park with 2 buckets full of food every day.
I miss my rich dogs. Over a period of time, you develop a relationship with dogs. I've been going there for so long, I think I know the great-grandparents of the rich dogs. I know that this dog doesn't like this food, he likes this food. This one is sick or this one is hurt. So you carry medicine, you know, it's like all part of the routine. And they are family.
When COVID hit, we all knew that, oh my God, how are we going to control mom? This is one thing that she's not going to be okay with, to not be allowed to go to the ridge. If they're not fed, she's going to have tension and she's going to have stomach aches and headaches and all kinds of things every day, just out of worry of what's going to happen to these dogs.
Dolly's desire to feed the rich dogs soon puts her and Arjun on a collision course with Karan and his rules.
एक सेकंड जब हम लॉकडाउन में गए थे तब दिल्ली में दिन में 50 केस आते थे तब तो हमने सब कुछ स्ट्रिक्ट होके टाइट होके घर लॉकडाउन कर
अब हम सीख लिए ना
एक सेकंड अब हम सीख लिए 50 से 500 केस हो गए अब आप लोग कह रहे हैं कि घर खोल लीजिए
That means whatever we were doing is not working. If it is not working, might as well join normal life and see what happens.
I'll tell you my biggest problem. The day the driver is here, she's going to be going to the ridge with him. Every evening, you watch. So you guys figure it out. You want that to happen because I know it will happen.
I understand everybody's feeling a little bit frustrated. It's a new way of life. And it's difficult to hold everybody back.
I don't know why we can't maybe ask them to come, sanitize them, like give them the gloves and the mask.
You think you can plan for them to come in, wear your gloves, do your sanitization? You think you can do all that? Tell me.
People can make me out to be the bad guy who's trying to control everything and try to control people, but it's really not for me. I mean, it's for everybody else around us. It's for all of us together.
He's got a business, he's sitting at home. She's got work, she's sitting at home. I've got work, I'm sitting at home. All of us are sitting at home. This is not just for you. It affects all of us.
Singapore is in the thick of a circuit breaker. People are encouraged to stay home. Everything but essential services are shuttered. Joel, a father of 3, is trying to stay strong for his family.
This is day 5 of the 25 push-up challenge. So let's do it slow.
You can do it, Daddy.
I'm most of the time a happy-go-lucky guy. Let it go. I'm an optimist. Sometimes I'm so optimistic until I always say it's gonna work, this is gonna work, until Lesley thinks that, are you sure or not? Don't get yourself into trouble again.
39-year-old Joel has been through the school of hard knocks. In 2016, his first cafe venture failed and he had to close it down. but he soldiered on with a mobile coffee cart.
Never say no to coffee, right?
Yeah, correct. Oh.
For you, sir.
Thank you.
Four years later, he now has two businesses, the mobile coffee cart and east of Eden, a coffee kiosk.
February and March sales was picking up and we actually see more customers come in.
But as authorities slowly tighten the screws to stop the virus from spreading, business dwindled.
All ticketed cultural, sports and entertainment events with over 250 participants will be deferred or cancelled.
F&B outlets like coffee shops or restaurants can only do takeaway and deliveries.
I depend very much on events. I depend very much on dine-in customers. So that's the worry, and I'm still trying to think what can I do better for the business. The income is zero already.
In Wuhan, Wang Bin too is troubled by the state of his restaurants. The city has lifted its lockdown on the first week of April, and people are now allowed to go out. But nothing is back to normal.
之前两边都不准停车的，疫情期间大家就随意了，警察也不管了，所以现在两边停车很多。这个城市它真正的那个活力实际上是没有回来的，学校没有开学，商业没有打开。虽然单位在通知复工，但是复工率其实整体都不高。
Over the past 3 months, there has been no income from his 3 restaurants. But rents must be paid, so too the salaries of 110 employees. It's time to get the business back on track.
这样，中国多少吗？50单？没有，我还差2单。这两天就是其他你关注过没有？其他竞争对手的单子？
其他竞争对手我也只能关注这个街上，线上它一天也就3、4单。像我们这块的复工不多。
目前我们能复工的有2个店，能复工只是仅限于说做外卖，堂食现在还不能做。
The disruption couldn't come at a worse time for Wang Bin. About 4 years ago, when the restaurants were doing well, he and his wife decided it was finally time to start a family. They bought a bigger apartment, and 2 years ago, spent $14,000 on in vitro fertilization to conceive their twins.
每个月的房贷，家里面的生活，这几个人加小孩，然后包括店里面的商铺，每个月的固定支出的话，这是要4万块钱。到年底就是现金这一块会消耗光。
Back in Singapore, telecommuting is mandatory for almost all office workers. So the commercial hub where Joel's coffee kiosk is located is a sorry shadow of its former self.
The moment I set foot, I like, oh, sian already.
When circuit breaker started, everything kind of went downhill for me. Instead of staying at home and waiting for things to get better, I thought, why not I make things better for myself?
So I've got a mask on right now.
My brother-in-law told me, hey, I have this opportunity is to deliver groceries to households. I said, yeah, sure, no problem. Let's do it.
Hello.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
Thank you for your cooperation.
You're welcome. Take care. Yep, all parked now. Then is the abang that got this little lobang for me. You're going to be on family affair. And then this is the area of.
With his cafe businesses flatlining, Joel decides to close them temporarily, so he can focus on his new job, delivering fruits and vegetables to neighborhoods across Singapore.
Some people might just say, this is a tough job, this is low pay job, but they put foods on the table and better than staying at home and waiting for government handouts or waiting for the economy to pick up. Even though business is down, business is bad for me, but I'm not giving up. I'm still finding ways how I can have income.
Yeah, actually I noticed a difference also after you started helping Guang Yan. Your mood has changed so much.
Change what? Better or?
Better lah, better. You're not like grumpy.
Rising demand for delivery services has become a financial lifeline for Joel. But as demand skyrockets, his hours have also become longer and longer, to the dismay of his kids.
Honestly, I do miss them. So whenever I'm out for work and then do a video call with them, or sometimes they'll just call me, I guess they miss me as well.
Where's your campsite?
Joel fears missing out on the kids' formative years, just like his father did when Joel was growing up.
I don't really think I spend a lot of time with my dad. He's a taxi driver. He works the graveyard shifts. He's never done anything wrong to me. I've never done anything wrong to him. But there's always this awkwardness. So it's probably the kind of connection we've never had. So now that me and my kids, actually I don't know if I'm doing a good job or not.
With Joel pulling long hours, making grocery deliveries,
Don't. This is not mommy's, okay?
it's up to Lesley to hold the fort at home.
I already said don't play now.
And things are going to get more hectic.
Sit down. What? Children, stop it. Stop saying stop milk lah. Hey. I said stop playing with it, Children soup. Sit down.
In Singapore, it has been 2 weeks since schools closed, and home-based learning is now in full swing.
Dictation at 1 o'clock, and this is 听写九 at 12 o'clock. Can you go and take your
Previously, Lesley was already struggling with helping Tristan, who's in primary school, follow lessons taught via Zoom.
2 Zooms tomorrow? Oh, wow.
But now, even her preschoolers have lessons via video conferencing. Tilden, who is in nursery, and Tyra, who's in kindergarten, each spend at least 7 hours attending online lessons a week.
Okay. This is what we were learning yesterday, right? So if you can sing the song, O-N-E, 1, T-W-O, 2, T-H-R-E-E is trees. Why am I singing alone? Why am I singing alone? Have you forgotten the song? Get that?
In the past, sometimes on Fridays, they would stay at my mom's place. My mom is 5 minutes away. And that's perfect because I have silence.
Put the shovel away again. This shovel, I will shove it into the drain. Yes, that's right. So you do some coloring first, okay? Then mommy come in, help you.
With this circuit breaker, I can't visit my mom. My mom can't drop by. My parents, my sister who helps me a lot, can't.
Mommy! Hey, stop!
Do your work. Tristan, don't make me.
Make me what?
Kill you!
You know, the boys are coming to me for every single need.
Carol, I'm very angry about the shovel. I said stop it. I said stop it many times. I'm gonna throw it away, You're supposed to be coloring. Why are you not coloring yet? I want you to write the numbers outside here, Carol. I want you to color. What are you doing to them? Why does it take so long to color? I told you to keep the shovel. I said if you touch it, I'll throw it in the drain, right? This is wrong. Erase it. Sit down. Sit down. No cross. Erase it. I'm actually busy right now trying to get this done. I am already helping you. You're not doing anything at all. I use this So we're going to learn how to do the spelling. Can you don't stand on me, please? Okay, so you go right on the top, then you draw the line. Tristan, please watch yourself, Tristan. Don't make mommy
more stress.
Thank you. It's a mixed feeling. You know, like till now, they are still coming to my room to look for me. Oh, Tika, can you take him away? He's killing me.
Okay.
Oh. Drawers, I lock the door, but I can't because they need their mother. If we hold on together, I know our dreams will never die. You know you will miss these moments when they grow older. Dreams lead us through till forever. When do I get a break? Help me for you.
Lesley is about to learn. She is going to have her kids at home with her 24/7 for far longer than she thinks.
Hey, go.
肚子哪里？
抓出来！
哎哈哈哈哈哈哈！回来，快来，快来！可以。
This is Mu Jing, nickname Dou Dou, and Mu Xuan, nickname Jiu Yue. They are the 18-month-old twins of the Wang family.
哥哥跑了，去追哥哥，快去！哥哥跑了，宝贝儿。我妈呀，直接看到，好，豆豆。 别洗澡了，妈妈给你冲奶喝，你吃完再睡，好不好？
For the past few months, Grandpa and Grandma Han have stepped in to help take care of the twins. They were just visiting from Sichuan for the Lunar New Year festivities when they suddenly found themselves trapped by the lockdown in Wuhan, unable to return home. But Wang Bin is unhappy with how they are spoiling the toddlers. Earlier, he confronted Grandpa and Grandma Han.
对，就是睡觉，所以还是一样的这个习惯，就是不能不抱他就不抱。姥姥姥爷是很宠溺孩子，会给孩子会带来养成一些不太好的习惯。 而这些习惯的话，未来就是在我们自己带孩子的过程中会带来很多麻烦。
你不能说是强制性的，你强制性的，你像豆豆儿那个，你强制性的，越强他越枯竭，你没发觉吗？
这有些方法上面呢，我觉得我们还是要统一一下子，有时候要抱啊，通常也不能掌握。我觉得跟他们说过后，好像变化不是特别大。 姥姥姥爷在我最困难的时候来帮我们带孩子，按理说是很感激的。但是一码归一码，在孩子的教育上面的时候，我还是比较坚持我个人的意见。
Wang Bin's outburst a couple of days ago has made Grandma Han think of leaving. It's compounded by how hard she sees her husband working. Grandpa Han is already 75 years old.
所有的小组工作全是我的，一天要小2、3次。
我们家老头子啊，就是从来没干过家务事，在家头的扫把倒了掐过去都是不得抽下的，不是那个人。
中午到没事，我们小孩睡觉了，搞快一把酒精到下头来喷一喷。你要醒了，下午醒了。 他又要玩儿，你是那个害怕小孩感染去了？
我都觉得变了一个人，太阳从西方出来了，那个。
全部清洗抹了以后啊，就来洗，洗完了以后，所有的全部喷，大概就是要搞1、2个小时。
我还是有点担心，我还害怕反常，害怕那个病，癌症那个病发。
The elderly couple survived a health scare in 2008 when Grandpa Han was stricken with late-stage cancer. It took him 6 years to fight it into remission. His body has not been the same since, and he continues to be on medication. 1 week ago, train services resumed, and Grandma Han is thinking of going home, driven both by the quarrel with Wang Bin, and more importantly, her husband's health.
我们的呀也是起不到大作用，所以说我都一心都放弃他们照顾他们的小孩，就一心就心意都放在老头身上，要把老头保下来，我才有办。要不是说以后我都是孤苦伶仃的，所以说我都那次都要忙到想回家，都是我的，就是为了老头。
累说实在话，不累是假的，还是真正的把我们那个家庭呢全部圆满了，他们尽都好玩了，我们也得放心的走得到，所以还是有坚持这个的。
这儿。
Wang Bin wants to resume his role in parenting the children. If he does, Grandpa and Grandma Han can leave. But his floundering business is sucking up all his energies away from his family.
餐饮这个是作为整个新冠疫情影响的波及最惨烈的一个行业，面对的压力是非常之大的，都是需要我去一个个去面对、去化解的。 我现在就是已经重新跟我们整个团队定的目标，就是今年我们活下去。
Over at the Guptas, someone else is also contemplating leaving for home. The house help, Belinda, heard news that the government is providing special trains to bring migrant workers like him from Delhi to their hometowns.
तो मेरी मम्मी को थोड़ा यही बात का चिंता हुआ कि मेरे गांव का भी नहीं है उधर में कोई, ना मेरे घर का कोई आदमी उसके साथ है। थोड़ा एहसास हुआ, इसके कारण वो फोन किए हुए थे, फिलहाल हो रहा है 1 हफ्ते, तो फोन पे वो रो रहे थे।
But in a lockdown, leaving is not as simple as it seems. To keep the entire household safe, Karan has made it clear that any house help who leave will not be allowed back until the pandemic is over. So if Belinda is stranded before making it home, he'll be stuck with no job and nowhere to live.
I think he's willing to just risk it and go back because his heart is not here. He just wants to leave.
People are getting kicked out of their jobs left, right and center. People don't have money, they don't have a roof over their head, they don't know where they're going to get their food from. He has everything here. If you really care about your family, you also have to be careful about their well-being.
Karan and Supriya will try to convince Belinda to stay. But the stress of keeping the entire household of 12 in check is starting to take its toll on Karan. In Singapore, Lesley, who is looking forward to the end of the month-long circuit breaker, is about to receive an unpleasant surprise.
We are now 2 weeks into the circuit breaker. We have adjusted to working from home and home-based learning.
Now it's clearly time for you to study, but you are just like...
I just like studying.
No, you are like...
I have a lot of emotions and feelings that are very cooped up inside of me because I got to deal with the kids.
Unfortunately, that number of unlinked cases has not come down.
Very good, Carol.
We will therefore extend the circuit breaker for 4 more weeks until the 1st of June.
My mind is just going like 4 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 weeks.
Tristan, focus, Tristan.
How long more? How long more?
Focus. You can finish very fast, Tristan. Come on. You're doing it very well just now. Remember, I just told you.
As if that was not enough, Lesley learns that the mid-year school holidays has been brought forward.
Let's see, so May 5th to June 1st is the school holidays. I guess I will do a monthly calendar and I will plonk in activities for the day.
With two hands, I wrote tilden also. And turn it upside down.
Oh, that's like...
No, don't touch, just turn. My mind is just on overdrive trying to think of whether they have enough activities or whether they have something to do. And now we go over and throw it in, Taro. Just let it go, let it go, let it go. Oh, there. Look at that, the toothpaste inside the bottle, boy.
Look at that.
In Delhi, as if the pandemic was not enough, freak weather strikes. A rare hailstorm leaves a trail of destruction and a massive cleanup for the entire Gupta household.
Because all the water came into the pantry, we're now just wiping off potatoes and onions, just making sure they're dry so that they don't rot. The whole house is now in damage control mode. The dad, as you know, is a bit of a control freak. He's got the guys on the job, just making sure that the water drains out from everywhere and doesn't stagnate.
Who's the tree, bro? How much? Like half of, maybe a third of it.
Earlier, Karan had forbidden the family's 7 part-time house help from coming into the home, which means now the family of 6 have to deal with the trail of destruction on their sprawling compound, with very few helpers.
Did you manage to get the tree out?
Yeah, this is not dangling off anything anymore. The hailstorm was pretty devastating, physically and emotionally. I mean, what are the chances of something like that happening? I've never seen anything like that happen in Delhi. Things that took years and years to grow are just gone in the blink of an eye. It's definitely taken its toll. I'm just tired of everything, like physically and emotionally. It's just very draining.
Okay, come, let's go and sleep. Hey, why your leg on me?
Mommy, I need you to on the light.
Why? Hey, please off the lights.
It's the night before Mother's Day.
What are you all planning to do for me? Please don't forget about dinner, okay? She's a mother to you also, you know, especially when you were baby, mommy was traveling. And even now, when mommy had to travel for work, I need her to do everything.
When Tristan was born in 2012, the Sus decided they needed a live-in domestic helper so that Lesley could continue working. 8 years and 3 boys later, Auntie Nia has become an inseparable part of the Su family.
Then cut the fries. Cut the black.
We have a family of 6 of us, right? Including Auntie Nia. Did something drop? I heard something drop. So you are moving or not moving?
Moving.
Alamak.
You don't make noise. Then mommy know where are you?
Hey! Someone did touch me. Oh! I touched me.
This is me.
You know, when you're traveling and your kid is sick, she will just text me and say, oh, ma'am, children is having a fever. And then you are thinking like, okay, please give that and this. And she's like, yeah, I've already done it. So there's nothing to worry about.
Nia was supposed to visit her 11-year-old daughter in Indonesia for Hari Raya. But travel restrictions due to the pandemic has put paid to those plans.
She really misses home, so she did share with me that the moment the travel bans are lifted, she wants to go back as soon as possible. I will never say no to her. You see what she has done for us. She deserves a lot more.
Save me! You are you're always lying on me. Look at my body not break. My goodness, go.
When she sees that I'm very, very tired, she would just bring all three of them down to the playground and manage them on her own. I don't even have to ask.
My leg pain right here.
She's actually just stuck at home with us. She still goes on and off. I will remind the kids, Auntie Na's off, please don't go and disturb her. Because I honestly see her as a mother of three boys as well.
Very nice.
My sons are her sons. I remember saying like, the boys love you, and she said, yeah, I feel it too.
Yeah. This and this is not the boy.
Never keep the toy right.
And I show you.
T at the back, right? How do you spell S?
It's not like a feeling of jealousy, but more like I want the boys to be like that. I want them to love her because she has really given her all to us.
It's a very different mood at the Gupta household. Supriya and Karan had spent the last few days convincing their house help Belinda to stay. Karan fears Belinda might contract the virus from the heaving crowds at the train station. So Belinda would not be allowed back, even if the trains to his hometown do not materialize.
I'm personally very sad, and I just wish she would have waited for a little while before rushing out, but a part of me understands it. In these troubled times, all we want to do is just be with family.
Yeah, so when Belinda left, I was concerned because if he could leave, then so could other people. And while we can still deal with having one person less, his workload gets spread to other people who are already stretched a little thin, including us.
With all that pressure, Karan is inching towards breaking point. So when the neighbor invites him over for a party,
What are these fancy margaritas for?
Alina's 40th birthday. And the onset of summer under COVID-19.
Making the most of it.
he joins the party, breaking his own rules about leaving the compound.
I mean, it's not easy to do what we're doing, right? We're not used to being at home and being so restricted. This consistency of doing the same thing day in and day out, I understand like discipline is important, blah, 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 but sometimes you just need a break.
I couldn't be happier. We're getting up today, and cheers.
We're not meant to be stuck in the same place day in and day out, and you can't do that, and it's very frustrating, and it's just getting too much. I mean, I need a break.
Okay, ready? Simon say touch your knees. Simon say touch your shoulders. Simon say touch your head. Simon say touch your ears. Simon say shake your bum bum. Don't shake your bum bum.
As a retail and training manager for an international cosmetics firm, Lesley used to travel a lot for work.
I think the longest I was away was for 2 weeks. So not being with the kids, there's a lot of guilt.
Simon say the statue. Simon say hot diver.
With no more work trips possible for the time being, and school holidays in full swing, Lesley tries to make up for lost time.
Ta-da! I tell you, they will love this game.
Look in the place where you keep your pictures in a frame.
Tell him, because it's for him.
But spending all her free time on her kids means Lesley has very little time for herself.
I remember at the beginning of the circuit breakers, I take some time for myself to do my mask. I even stopped that, because I really am damn tired.
Who is on my legs? Who are on my legs?
Mommy, at night I'm going to come to your room and sleep with you. Me too.
I think the best is nobody sleeps in my room tonight, okay? Okay, come, let's go and sleep.
No, you realize not? Every night, especially when it comes to bedtime, I totally cannot already. Because I'm maxed out. I'm with them from 8 a.m. To 10 p.m. I'm maxed out. So at bedtime, right, I'm there, I'm just angry. I feel like I'm just like on this ship alone.
They are there. Okay, what?
Physically and emotionally, it's two different things.
Next time you just tell me.
So now I'm telling you, check in.
Okay. I apologize. I should check in with you.
Yeah.
Visually, and mentally, and emotionally.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do that.
Realizing that Lesley is close to breaking point, Joel tries to spend more time at home.
I shouldn't be chasing money lah. I think my purpose in life is to impact the people around me. I try to do that with my kids first. 朋友 You can one. Okay, my turn. Rabbit. Yeah! Finally I got my breakthrough. Wash my face.
No, what's my daddy's musti?
Musti.
Yes, musti.
Put some cream. So you're gonna use this side, okay? So you're gonna do this way. See, the hair is gone.
Oh wow, it's really coming off, huh?
Me, I don't know where.
Whoa, that one you kill me.
Yeah,
Go on, chin. Chin me, chin. Wow, mommy do you don't know lah. You successfully shaved off my chin. Thank you, everybody. Say hi. This is my new daddy.
Hi, this is my new daddy.
Stop!
In the next episode, cabin fever sets in,
I said stop, right?
and Tristan starts to act up.
Not talking to you like
Hey! Ask your face the wall still can fight? Huh?
No, I'm not even talking to Simon.
Then why are you shouting?
I feel that these 2 months with them, a lot of the time is me just screaming at them.
I thought don't say.
Why you have to use such rude words, Tristan?